Kapan ke rumah temanku? Jawabnya tetap di rumah. Ku sedih tak bertemu teman, keluar main di halaman. Sampai kapan aku di rumah? Tapi di rumahku aku terlindungi, tetap sehat, tetap kuat dan ceria. Aku bisa belajar, meraih cita-cita, membangun Indonesia.
Ladies and gentlemen and kids, everybody look awesome today. I'm here with my daughter Chloe. My name is Ria Buta. I'm the program director of Indonesia Diaspora Network Greater Houston chapter. So first, I would like to thank you all for joining this what you call it? It's webinar, but a sharing session for because we Indonesian, we just celebrate the Hari Anak National Day on the 23rd, yeah, right, Bu Nana? So
Yes.
the purpose of this sharing session or webinar, you call it, is to encourage diaspora kids or youth to love science, to do something more than your age, you know, to encourage, not to like to compare, but to encourage. So during this session, we all gonna the attendees gonna be muted, and then the moderator here, Mbak Metrini or Tante Metrini, hello, some of you, we see you will ask question, and we're gonna collect question, and we're gonna address at the end after the second after Yuma. And then on behalf of Indonesia Diaspora Network Greater Houston chapter, I would like to sincerely express my gratitude, appreciation to the speakers, Yuma, Professor Nelson, and Axel, and then support of Consulate General of Indonesia in Houston, Ibu Nana and staff, and Ibu Romana behind the scenes for this webinar. Once more, we really hope this sharing session, a webinar, will motivate our youth to love science. So let's not waste our time. I would like to introduce the president of the IDN-Houston, Bapak Zain Wijaya. Pak Zain, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Buria. So good night, everyone in US, and good morning, maybe people in Indonesia and Australia. So my name is Zain. So I am the president of Indonesian Diaspora Greater Houston chapter. So on behalf of Indonesian Diaspora Houston, I would like to say thank you for all of you maybe to attend this event. So, and especially I would like to say thank you to Ibu Nana as a Consul General of Indonesia in Houston to support this event. And also thank you to Ibu Romana as Indonesian Consulate and all staff from Indonesian Consulate who help us, you know, to prepare this webinar. So as Buria mentioned, so we conduct this webinar, you know, to celebrate National Children Day in Indonesia that we celebrate every 23rd of July. And I would like also to thank to all speakers in this webinar, Yuma Soerianto, so Indonesian Diaspora Brilliant, you know, application developer, who won Applewood White Youngest Scholarship winner at WWDC, you know, from year 2017 until 2020. So Yuma was the youngest scholarship winner at WWDC in 2017. And I would like also to say thank you to Professor Nelson and his son Axel. So Professor Nelson is Indonesian Diaspora Professor who is teaching electrical engineering at Lehigh University in Pennsylvania. So he is the one of the youngest professor in USA. And I also would like to thank you to Mrs. Metrini Weaver from Washington, D.C. that will be our moderator for today, and Ibu Ria as MC. So the reason why we conduct this webinar is with the target audience, kids and youth, just to encourage our kids and youth, you know, to love science and technology. So because as you know, so the science and technology will take, you know, mostly its main important thing, you know, for our future generation. So hope, from the experience that will be shared by all speaker, so we will get inspiration how important, to learn science and technology for our kids. So, and also I want to inform, for next event, so we will collaborate also with Microsoft to conduct, free summer course program for our kids and youth, based on the survey's result that we conduct, I think last week. So it looked like we will have like summer class program related with coding and also digital design. So then I will inform more detail about this program in the next following week. So feel free to sign up and no cost at all. So the class will be conducted 2 times a week, and we will conduct the class also online. So, and all the participants will get, e-certificate from Microsoft. Okay, thank you all, and just enjoy the webinar. So, and we'll give it also the floor back to Maria. Thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Zain, terima kasih. Oke, sekarang I would like to read short bio of Tante Metrini. But actually, okay, in a short sentence, she's very, very talented. Okay, would you like to read me long or short, Tante Metrini?
You can short.
Okay, so Tante Metrini is also the owner and the founder of Batak's brand. So it used Indonesian material, and then she did, make it into the clothing and also, how you call it? Not purses, right?
Home decor and
Home
artisan
decor.
accessories, yes.
Yes, and also Tante Metrini is earned a bachelor degree in international relations and master degree in environmental science. Ooh, okay. And then she also completed the fashion studies program at Moore College of Art and Design in Philadelphia. So, and also right now, Tante Metrini is journalism, how to say, she's an international multimedia journalist and broadcaster with the Voice of America. So please.
Yeah, I'm busy, huh?
busy, Tante. So Tante Metrini, the floor is yours right now.
Yes, thank you so much. And to all participants on this wonderful webinar, and friends and family, and also children's with parents, it's good opportunity, although we are far away from our mainland in Indonesia, but we celebrate children's celebrations. And today with the Diaspora Networks in Houston, Texas, we would like to celebrate the excellence of Indonesian children around the world globally. And thank you for the consulate, Ibu Nana, for hosting and give this opportunity to be happen. So without further ado, I would like to introduce her, Honorable Nana Juliana, PhD, and she arrived in Houston on September 22nd, 2017 to serve her duties as the Consul General of the Republic of Indonesia in Houston. Prior her positions, she used to be in Thailand too, in a couple of positions in Southeast Asia, and get involved with some works with the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia Pacific, and she's a very, very talented. She graduated from English education, which is in Jakarta, ya Ibu ya, Institute Teacher Training in Jakarta. So now she can really, I'm assuming she learned a lot in English and also practice a lot here and then speaking a lot here. So she continued her education, master degree on the linguistic, and also she learned about development studies from University of Santo Tomas, Manila, and Philippines. That's the resume, but then I have a good connections to know her as a person and also as a woman. And today, with her role in diplomatic work from Indonesia here in the US, we are so lucky to have you to provide the opportunity to all of Indonesians and, for the children as well, and having this opportunity. Without further ado, please, Ibu, we would like to hear words or remarks from you.
Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right. So thank you very much for your kind introduction, Maitrini. We haven't seen each other physically, but this is our second time to meet through virtual. I wish that COVID will pass away so we can meet physically and have a deep conversation. Thank you very much for your introduction again, Maitrini. And first of all, of course, I would like to thank the IDN Chapter Houston, Indonesian Diaspora Network, for organizing this kind of such a brilliant event. Why is it so? Because, well, we've been so many times with the webinar and we only talk about for adult conversation. So we have to talk about our future generation, which is children and also youth, because they are our future generation, and each country, each nation, and even the world will depend on their education and also their work in the future. Imagine if they are at the moment, say 10 years old, in 20 years from now, 30 years old. So they are the backbone of each country, and also the world will also depend on them. That's why we have to address more about the young people, the children future, and because during this pandemic COVID, they are also, suffer because they cannot go to school, they will stay at home, and if the children cannot or doesn't have any patience for educating them, they will behind. Today, a session is actually a celebration of Hari Anak in Indonesian language. It is a Children's Day that is celebrated by Indonesian people every 23rd of July. In the United States, I don't know, but internationally, the celebration of the Children's Day will fall on the 1st of June, and then universally is on the 20th of November. So each country has a different date of celebration. So because of this celebration in Indonesia, I really admire what IDN did to celebrate this event. And I recognize also some of the children and also the parents join this program. So you will hopefully get the motivation and also the inspiration through this webinar. Why STEM? I think everyone knows about STEM, as Nelson Tansu also teach one of the STEM subjects. STEMs abbreviated from science, technology, engineering, and math. If we look at the data, this is a source from the World Economic Forum. The countries with the most STEM graduates, in 2016, China STEM's graduate is 4.7 million people. India, 2.6 million. United States is on the third rank, which is 568,000. Russia is 561,000. Iran is 335,000. Indonesia is on 206, and Japan is actually below Indonesia. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Indonesia is on the 6th rank of STEM graduate in the world. That's why sometimes when children study in Indonesia and they transfer to the United States, the math and everything, they're more advanced compared than the people in the United States. I have to be proud of that, because Indonesian children also, especially in Indonesia, they can also acquire a STEM, even though probably the numbers should be improved from time to time. I'm glad that this event is attended by our young children, like Yuma Soerianto. I think later on, Yuma, thank you for joining in, and I hope you can give an inspiration and motivation for your peers, your group.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I know you are in Australia at the moment. It's a different time with Houston, and also with DC, and from Pennsylvania, and also from other part of participants. And also, I'm so proud also to have Axel Tansu. He's a son of Professor Nelson Tansu, our Indonesian Diaspora Professor, who teach in Pennsylvania. You know why STEM? At least there are 7 reasons why STEM is very important for the children. First, when we want to build infrastructure, road, for example, yeah, bridge, then you need a knowledge of mathematics. Otherwise, when you build bridge and you don't have a correct calculation, the bridge will be broken down and it will be in danger for the people. So engineering is very important as the basic design for every human life, like road, bridges, for development, and also to tackle challenges and changing global weather. In Houston at the moment, it is raining. Sometime during July or August, we should be prepared, especially in Texas with the hurricane. There is an alert now for the hurricane. So STEM will put in because they will also measure how the weather to save the people. So STEM is very important. At least there are 7 reasons that I can say why the children now needs to study STEM. First, of course, studying STEM will foster your creativity. The children will create, will be provoked by the creativity. We need our creativity during this time. Imagine if during this COVID we don't have the creativity, we can imagine how life will you know, what kind of life that we will have. So creativity is very important in uncertain and this challenging global situation. There's also encouraging experiments. So you don't only study concept, but you do also experiments. You try to implement that concept through your experiment. Is that correct, Yuma and Axel? I hope it's correct what I say. I studied
Yes.
in high school in Indonesia. I took SMA IPA. IPA is natural science because in Indonesia you have to decide whether you want to join social science and also the natural science. So I took the natural science. I had a dream to be a doctor at that time, but I end up to be a teacher and end up to be a diplomat. So it's a different fate and different story. The third thing is, of course, when you do STEM, you need a teamwork. You have to build a teamwork. You don't only do by yourself, but you work with a team. So you build up a team. Yeah? It's a collaboration and cooperation that is needed actually for the future. You cannot live by yourself. Country cannot live by itself. They need each other, and then it creates connectivity. It creates interdependence between one another, between one country to another country, between Indonesia and United States, between Indonesia, United States, and also Australia. So it builds teamwork, it builds collaboration, it builds, you know, connectivity to respond to the global challenges. Besides that, of course, you will gain the knowledge. With that knowledge, technology use, you know, with the power of technology and innovation, you will contribute and the children will contribute in the future for the development of the world. And of course, through science, you can also do the problem solving. And I'm not very good at math when I was in high school. My grade is just so, but I was trying to struggle with that. But you know, math is something that I think should be imposed to children and teaching them with fun. In the past, when I was in Indonesia, when I got a study about math, this is not fun at all. So that's why some children, they hate math. And this is the methodology for the teacher, for Pak Nelson probably. We have to find ways, we have to find, you know, methodology to create and to make math and science interesting to our children. And the last one, of course, by learning STEM, it also create and teach us to be adaptive for any kind of challenges. You will apply the concept that you learn, yeah, and then also you will try to respond to the problems that you will face. So that's why we want to hear what is a Yuma experience and also Axel experience as children. So it will give a motivation, it will give a picture, and also will give motivation and inspiration to our children. And of course, with that, I would like to open this webinar officially. And this is the first time I'm very, very happy because we discuss about children. So I admire and I also would like to appreciate for IDN and also Maitri for from time to time to be connected with us in Houston. Thank you very much for this kind of opportunity. Thank you. I'll go back to Maitrini, please.
Thank you, Ibu. What wonderful, and we hope that we can continue to celebrate the excellence of Indonesian young generations, including the children's, and also with the parents as well. Even though we like Yuma right now living in Australia, and Pak Nelson and his son living here in the U.S. in Pennsylvania, but we truly bringing Indonesian to the global competition and bring creativity and also innovation. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Yuma. Hi, Yuma, how are ya?
Hello, I'm good, thanks. How about you?
Good. So how is Australia?
It's really good here. I mean, it's really cold, so I have like a jacket on, and but yeah, no, it's really nice. It's been morning here. So yeah.
So what is the Australia sarapan, like a breakfast?
I didn't really have any bread or anything, so I just got some cereal. I'll probably sometimes I get bread. Sometimes I like to toast it. I have some Vegemite, and then I just put Vegemite in my bread. Other times, you know, I just use Nutella or peanut butter, whatever. I just have whatever I find.
Right. So just we finished the introductions, the remarks from Ibu Nana, and you just change your background. So I can see, like, we call it like a green screen. What is like in one finger, you just snap and then you change something, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we continue to talk more, I think we would like to see some of your video. I think Ibu Ria ada ya introductions for Yuma.
Yeah, maybe I will give an introduction about a video introduction, but it looked like I cannot share the screen. Maybe can I get the access to share the screen so I can share the video about Yuma?
Bu Romana, share the
Bu
screen.
Romana. And then jangan lupa nanti pas we honor Yuma request not to record during her his presentation, and then demo app.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I just shared about the profile for Yuma, just only 1 minute.
In fact, one of our youngest is here this morning. His name is Yuma Soerianto. He's from Australia, and he's just 10 years old. He started coding when he was 6, and he already has 5 apps on the App Store. I met Yuma yesterday, and I can't wait to see what he's going to accomplish next.
Sekolah, jawabnya tetap di rumah. Ibu, kapan ke rumah teman?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we in the current situation.
Well, thank you very much, Maitri. In the current situation, of course, a lot of children in Indonesia also cope with technology and science, and some of still small numbers that they win in the science Olympics as well. But of course, there's still a lot of children who are not having similar situation, especially those who live in the village. They don't have an access with the technology, with the IT, with the computer and etc. Especially during this pandemic COVID, of course, the poverty level is increasing, unemployment. Of course, it will also affect to the future of the children as well. So, but of course, we have to be optimistic and positive that Indonesia also can be, as the data in 2016, our rank is on the 6th on the STEM graduate. So hopefully we can increase, but it takes time, especially during this pandemic COVID. Yeah.
Oh, you told us earlier that you were with your grandkid.
I am. So that's why, sorry if the sounds and everything. I have two grandchildren here. One is 6 years old, and another one is still 1.5 years old. So I ask them, sometimes we have to force them.
Yeah, I think we have Yuma back. Are you in, Yuma? Father and a son. They are in Philadelphia. They are in suburb Philly, which is in the Pennsylvania, in Bethlehem. Professor Nelson Tansu is a fellow of the U.S. National Academy of Inventors, and he has been a professor at Lehigh University, which is in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, since 2003. Axel Tansu is an 8-year-old student, which is his son, at Hanover Elementary School. So without further ado, we're gonna bring them to the screen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Nelson, do you want me to call you Professor Nelson or Pat Nelson?
Pat Nelson's fine. Yeah. Nelson's fine as well.
So I used to live in Philadelphia area in Pennsylvania. So, I kind of like alumni from there. But it was nice to see you virtually here. And we have our guest Yuma presenting from Australia about the apps and something related to the STEM. So for our Indonesian kids that are watching right now, including their parents, since you are parents too, is it like the STEM is really difficult, and how to make it friendly?
No, I would say STEM is a fun area. It was portrayed as difficult, boring, or challenging. I do believe that it's really about how the presentation of the STEM area to kids. If you make it fun, like any topics, it will be fun. But keep in mind that not everyone loves STEM. You can't force everyone to love science, engineering, mathematics, or coding. There are kids that love it. There are kids dislike it, and that's fine. This is actually the reality, right? So what I would like to kind of point out is also the phone, like for myself too. Like I love science and engineering, but if you present an area like music and arts, perhaps those are the topic that I would fail miserably, right? So this is the kind of thing that I will kind of point it out. But STEM in general, I have to say, this has been a fabulous area for me as a former student, as a young kid in the past too, as a parent today, and as a faculty member for the past 17 years.
So when you were growing up, I'm assuming you were growing up in Indonesia, is that right?
Correct. I was born in Medan, and I grew up in Medan till the age of 17. So I completed all my pre-university education in Sutomo Satu Medan.
Oh, I was from Medan too. I was from Methodist Tiga.
Oh yeah, it was not too far.
What a coincidence. So,
right.
So were you like envisioning yourself when we were in Medan, or you were in Medan, that you're gonna be at one point gonna work with STEM, or it's come along in your life journey?
I think both come together. I have to say, like, once a little kid, I've always been, a curious boy, a highly curious kid who like to figure things out. Not really to talk about it, but it's actually simply to think about a problem, think about problems, figuring things out. Then I tend to keep it to myself. I was a very quiet kid. I was shy kid, just to be clear. Then it just happened that also on the other side, I have a lot of interest about university. As a young kid, I love to read about universities and biography of like professors, scientists, inventors, and they kind of bring me to the idea like the career that I would like to pursue is related to professor in maybe the area of physics or engineering when I grew up one day. And when I came to the US, 25 years ago, I went to school in Wisconsin, for both my undergraduate and doctoral educations, and then I end up to be a professor at Lehigh right after that. So it has been a great journey. Of course, I've been very fortunate along the way. There have been many helps and support from family, friends, and mentors as well along during these past 25 years in the US.
So as a parent, as a father, how you introduce science, technology, and mathematics to your children? It's you have to give them, oh, you need to learn it, or you kind of like, how does it work?
Oftentimes it's a mix of both things, right? Really, to claim that you don't need to motivate the kids and automatically they show up and brilliantly ready to do all the math, that would be dishonest. I think it's a bit like giving them the tool. In one side, math is simply a tool. Coding, computer science, these are also important tools, right? But there are also other things, like about like creativity, innovation, ideas. That it can be coming from I would say more application-oriented engineering topics. Like I think I liked, Ibu Nana earlier discussed about bridges, for the example. That's a great example, right? Why do you do science and engineering? It's actually to make like safer bridges, smarter bridges, that will become a resilient infrastructure. How about like, making like the next generation spacecraft, making like, my son will tell later that, he's into car right now. He has some idea about the car that he wants to do, right? As a kid, but this is something that's fun. And I think that's fine. I mean, that's normal. The same thing as well, as a young kid too. I also, I drew my interest from what I saw at the time, what I was exposed to in Medan. Of course, at that time we didn't have any internet.
No.
There was a different era, right?
Yeah.
But we were exposed to books. We're exposed to like things that we saw in Medan. For myself as a child. I think that's fine. What happens is more of the journey in getting in the knowledge, in learning those knowledge, in mastering those ideas, and using those ideas in perhaps something more important later on in life.
So we're gonna check your advice. I'm gonna bring your son here, Axel. Axel, how are you? Axel Tansu. So I want to check. Your dad is saying that correct me if it's wrong, that he show you to do whatever you want, not really pushing you. So it happened, you learn about science, technologies, mathematics by yourself. How do you find yourself?
I find myself in a good position because my dad has been teaching me a lot.
So which subject do you like better? Is it like mathematics or science itself? Which one do you like?
I like mathematics and science mostly.
So back to Pak Nelson. So it's matching. So I think as a parent, how can you share your experience with all the parents that are watching right now with us? What are the things that you can share to make children interested to be, in STEM?
I think I was fortunate because for my family, at least, this is what I do, right, in the area of STEM, teaching STEM. But for, other family members, I would say that, it really boils down to the interest of the kids as well. You have to be careful about like pushing STEM to all the kids. It's a great idea to encourage them to consider STEM as like the area of interest for their career and future topics to learn. um, you know, it just happened that, like I work on STEM and my son has interest in STEM, and kind of like he saw what I do and he saw a lot of what I did, and kind of like they kind of like bring, it's easy to talk about them. I have to say that, like, as I mentioned, there's nothing perfect way at all. You have to learn about your kids. You have to learn about them. You have to understand them. Some kids, they could be brilliant, but you have to guide them properly about the topics. And some other kids maybe, they maybe their best skill is not in STEM. Maybe they're the incredible talent in literature,
Jadi lawyer ya.
geography. So I think those are like, very important. However, if your kids are good in STEM, I think a couple of things that's important, I would say, focus on the math, as we know, and focus on the coding, computer science, and get them involved in like exciting stuff. Exciting stuff, for example, bridges, spacecraft, cars, or anything that the kid love. Expose to them in the engineering side. I would emphasize it's more application side of the engineering. Now that will actually get them to ask more questions. I would say perhaps if they're curious about it, they'll figure things out. And when they start to ask more questions, then they will start to ask how to solve this complicated equation. All right, to present them. We were taught a little bit different when during my generation, and I think for most of the parents' generation in this Zoom meeting, we were taught by starting with the boring side first. Then
like memorize, and then I remember like you need to memorize, and then you need to practice counting.
Correct. We were taught a little bit differently, and that was our generation, and that was fine. It works for some people, and it didn't work for other people, right? Most people. But kids today are different. They are a lot more prepared. They are more intelligent than their parent generation. They know more math and more advanced math and coding at an earlier age compared to their parent generation, and they will learn differently. And we have to respect that. It is hard for us to do that, really, because we tend to go back to our old way of teaching, because that's what we knew, that's what we know best, which is actually how we experienced as a young kid 20, 30 years ago. But I think you'll see that they will innovate in a different way. And I think, let them figure that one out. And I think this is the reason why I kind of like emphasize only on two things. One is the math, which is essential. And the second one is exposing the kid, in this case with my kid, to things of exciting, we call it invention, some people call it engineering, but basically things that you can see, and those will be truly exciting for them, and allow them to ask more questions after that. So, and believe it or not, sometimes they come up with a good idea too, right?
Would you mind sharing with us how the STEM can be, being up, like we can make it into our daily life? Like, how is it applicable?
Absolutely. Science and engineering, you can call it as a discipline, is essential for our nation and our society. I have to say that, I like what Ibu Nana mentioned earlier, and I'm glad that she came, she presented an excellent introductory remark earlier. STEM, if a nation wants to progress, we need to have certain percentage of our population invested heavily in STEM. Now, though our number is relatively good due to our larger population in the world, but I think percentage-wise, we need to increase those numbers as well to match it into like more like perhaps some of the recently developed country. they have achieved. For example, like, today, like China, South Korea, Singapore, India, they are like having a high percentage in the STEM students compared to their population. Now, so it's a part of our fabric, but keep in mind that not everybody can do STEM. Not everybody will love STEM, because society is full of excellent students who will be the literature scholar, could be like, in business, entrepreneurship, and that's fine. Those are healthy. But what we need to do is to make sure that for those kids who are passionate about the STEM, about science and engineering, will have the opportunity to learn, to master, and to apply those STEM in their future life. And I think this is essential for Indonesia. I do believe that. Now, Indonesia is broadly defined. This is not only like those are Indonesian people in Indonesia, but also we have a lot of Indonesian diaspora. They're spread across many nations. And then this actually like thing that we need to bring them together. Because keep in mind that like some of the, I would say the success that we observe in India, for example, was also driven by a lot of Indian diaspora in America who are helping out to bring those STEM back to educate their next generation in India. So I think, Indonesian, I would say we're still small about the Indonesian diaspora who are working in STEM area. The numbers are, increasing well. I wouldn't say that, it was the same thing like 25 years ago or even 17 years ago when I started my career as a faculty member at Lehigh. The number was a lot lower, but today I would say things are healthy. But the discussion shouldn't be about like the parents' generation, our generation, shouldn't be about that. It's actually about the younger kids. People like Yuma, people like, many children who are in this Zoom meeting today. I think these are the next generation and they are a lot more prepared than us. And that's wonderful. That's a great progress for our nation. In terms of like the human quality, human capital of our country. Especially as Indonesia is going through is entering its golden period where the population boom is happening in the most productive age group.
Yeah, before we go to the Q&A, because a lot of people have these exciting questions, would you mind sharing with us, with the audience here, not only in the US, but also in Indonesia who are watching us today, about your sort of like your finding about the N95 max for the COVID-19 and your son's contribution? So it can inspire other people, there's some of the things that you work on the STEM and then it will be useful for, for people around the world.
Sure, I'll start with a brief statement first about this. So my technical area I'm an applied physicist. Think about like my area is really about like how to connect physics from fundamental science into solving problem engineering. In my area would be like things like, for example, integrated circuit using computing, quantum computing. Like things like, for example, like the optical communication system, Internet of Things, cyber physical system. So those are the kind of things we do. Okay, so I'm think about like a guy who learned about like semiconductors, laser, and light emitting diode, and many of those kind of stuff. Right now, so on March 22nd, so let me kind of share a screen. This is kind of like a small screen, just kind of like show it to you. Maybe I can just show it a little bit. Is it working? I think it's working, right? So on March 22nd, 2020, our lab at Lehigh was shut down already due to the COVID-19. In the mid-March, students were told that they have to be learning online at my university. So about a week later, we shut down the lab. Then on the Sunday, which is March 22nd, I was contacted by medical doctors in St. Luke's Hospital in Pennsylvania. This is during the peak of the pandemics. Things were not looking good. But one of the issues that they faced was due to the shortage in N95 masks in the US, in the hospital in the US as well. approximately 10% of the healthcare workers were infected. Now that's a big number, 10%. These numbers that's ongoing in New York, that was ongoing in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. We are very closely tied together in that area. So this kind of like led us to, like we presented a problem, all right? Now keep in mind that prior to that conversation, I did not even think about anything to do like COVID-19. We're just working like laser, semiconductors, IC, communication, computing, things like that, right? Now, then once we start to discuss this with the medical doctors, and we're very fortunate that we are able to assemble a team rapidly to think about how to address this, to build the UVC sterilization system for N95 masks that they can be reused. There are many criteria that needs to be satisfied because of like, usage in hospital, because we're talking a large of number, not a small number. Like I can show you like kind of like very interesting, like some sketches on a pen and pencil. Of course, it's actually done in a tablet, and we have to socially distancing from us one another, and also this has been done based on what we can do at home. But one thing that we realize is that UVC, which is an ultraviolet C wavelength, allow you to actually eliminate by damaging the DNA and RNA, which is the genetics profile of the virus, with a particular dose. Now, this is a well-known thing from biological science. So it's about bringing how the engineering to come in the things that can be practical for the hospital. I'm going to not go to the detail, but we have a certain unique design that allows us to actually build what we actually have today. This is actually an example, visually of the equipment that is installed in the hospital, and that was done in less than 2 weeks. Now, this is a big equipment. The reason is because the hospital requires to sterilize almost like 3,000 masks a day for our hospital in Bethlehem, PA. So this allows us to kind of like get a good sterilization rate up to about 3,000 masks per day. Has been working on for the past 3 months. This is it's today, like instead of actually having one mask and throw it away, but the hospital can use them for about like 20 times for each mask. One thing that's actually we're very fortunate is actually like it dropped down the infection rate by significantly, especially among the medical professional at the hospital. I want to kind of make sure that to emphasize that it's a team effort. Without the doctors, without the staff members, without my students, we will not be able to accomplish this. Nelson himself will not be able to do that at home alone. It's about like really like having like a lot of people helping out together. But this is incredible actually, where I can see that like the pressure from the pandemic, or perhaps like the unfortunate situation from this pandemic bring a lot of like creativity to creative minds to come together and make it happen in like a very short time. My son and I are humbled with this opportunity to help the medical professional on this aspect.
So I heard that there is a gossip or the rumor that your son get involved with the kind of a project. Maybe you can share with us.
Sure. I mean, he can share himself. Yeah, please. Yeah.
So what is his contributions on this big N95 related to the COVID? Maybe Axel can share with us so it will inspire other kids.
Sure, Axel, yeah, please.
I knew that my dad was trying to build a system to help a hospital. I got involved with this because I went to his desk one night. I saw what he was trying to design and build. That equipment is for sterilizing the N95 mask from coronavirus. Then I noticed that the shape of the design is cylindrical. Then I came up with the octagon shape as this is closer to the cylinder shape. All this also allows to assemble the structure and the frames. And it is easier to flip the frames to clean the front and back side of the N95 mask faster. This turns out to be useful. This is a team effort, and I am glad to help a little bit on this project.
Excellent. Wow.
So maybe this is actually a picture I can show you
Yes.
pictorially, right?
The picture.
This is actually like, you know, we started with like, I think a cylinder shape, right? But then turns out to be like, you know, that means that we have to flip all the masks, almost 200 pieces of a mask, you know, after single exposure, right? So, you know, I think this is like, you know, idea that came from him, like, you know, just break into pieces in an octagon shape. Then this allows us to swing the frame. So that's actually what we exactly do right now. We simply swing the frame. This frame can be rotated. That allow us to simply like have like 8 rotation point instead of having to rotate the mask like 200 times for exposing the front and the back of side of the mask.
Brilliant.
So we were kind of like worried about this. In the beginning, I was kind of like, I guess we were so focused about how to build it first, right? You know, we didn't think about like this practicality. That's a reason why sometimes it's good to have like different minds to suggest some, perhaps initially would be like, you know, like surprising ideas, but turns out to be useful idea.
Yes, so I'm going to bring the 3 of you panel with Yuma. Yuma, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still here.
So for the 3 of you, how do you see the trial? I mean, like, if it is fail, how do you see yourself when you try something and then you found yourself not working right? So how do you manage it?
So who wants to go first?
You can go first.
Yeah. All right, sure. Okay, so usually when I fail at something, well, not exactly fail, usually it's more of me getting stuck somewhere, or that's how I put it. Like, I mean, I guess if I were to like completely fail or something, or you know, something just doesn't work, you know, I'll just you know, learn from it. I don't exactly see it as a failure. I just see it as an opportunity for myself to see, okay, this went wrong and that went wrong. So if I want to do something else that's similar to this, I can take in that. I can take in what went wrong and then find out how to make that not go wrong. So like, I just learn from my mistakes pretty much, and find solutions to them before they, you know, develop and grow. And then, so next time, you know, that won't actually happen again. And then, but most of the time when I'm like making apps or coding, it's more about me just getting stuck somewhere. Like, there's a point where this part of a game doesn't work as like what I intended it to be. I just try to find somewhere around it, you know, some solution. But yeah, if I fail, I'll just learn from it.
And then for Nelson and Axel?
Failing is normal. I fail a lot. There are many things I've done that I fail, and you know, it's fine. It's really fine. All right. You know, if you don't try, you don't want to fail, then you don't have to try, right? Anytime you try something, you know, you're at risk of failing. You know, like for example, like if you know you would like to play soccer, for example, maybe you do not know whether you're good or not. Try that, and you figure it out. Turns out to be you're quite bad, quite poor in soccer game. You know, then you know, perhaps you know that's not a game for you. So I think this is something like, you know, a process that's not, you know, very normal for anybody to fail. In fact, I think you know, for every success that we have, you know, it's very easy to point out to our success. Like, you know, here's actually the paper we published. Here's a patent that we have, or that's actually the award that we received. But it's interesting, isn't it? Like, you know, our resume did not include like what the our failures are. There could be a longer list by far. So I think, and that's a good thing about this. You know, I fail a lot, I'm I'm fine to claim that, that I fail a lot, and that's fine. I think this is, I think it's more like about like what you do with those failures, right? Some people, are persistent enough to learn the topic, to figure it out, and make the breakthrough. But some people are stubborn enough to stay in topic that they are not good, and they continue to fail, right? So you have to be measuring those like your strength and passion at the same time. That's how you build success. You have to be passionate about what you do, but you also have to be good in what you do. And that's how you can bring them together, and hopefully you can build a successful idea, career, or perhaps make incredible contribution to the society in that topic. So we tend to tell others on how to do things based on what we did many years ago. For example, like parents to the children, right? But sometimes we have to be careful about that as well. Of course, we, like any one of us, we hopefully we were one day, many years ago were wonderful kid as well, and we tend to listen to our parents' advices. I think I consider myself one of those kids as well many years ago. But you have to understand, like, when they give you the advice, it's based on well-intention, but you also have to understand that it's a very different generation advice. They have to cater that to what you need in today's life. I'm talking about when I was like 17 or 18 years old, when my mother was giving me a well-intended advice, and I truly appreciate all the advice that she gave me. But you have to combine them together with what my experience is, or what I was facing at that moment. And I think that's actually how you can bring it together. A simple thing is, as I mentioned earlier, if you are able to combine your strength and passion at the same time, then you tend to excel in whatever you do. And I think I'm a big believer about that, and I've seen it in many students that we have the honor to guide them as well in their education career at Lehigh.
So maybe Axel, you want to say something?
I would like to hear what he has to say too.
No pressure.
I am still young.
Oh, you're still young.
I am still young. I have a lot of chances to make it work. I am lucky that I can ask my dad for advice. Now we have many resources like books and YouTube that I can learn a lot from these things.
That's
Good,
good.
thank you.
That's the first time I heard from him about that.
Yeah, so for other people, so they know that Professor Nelson and his son, they are insane.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
For Pak Nelson, there's a question. When you explained about the UV, does it mean that if somebody under, like having sunbath, does it work with the COVID-19?
UVC wavelength is a very short wavelength that is not covered by our sunlight irradiation. So if you go to sunlight, that's typically cut off a 280 nanometer wavelength. That's a more technical term, but that's actually the number of the wavelength, the value of the wavelength. While this is actually like a much shorter wavelength, 220 to about 250 nanometers. So you have to use artificial lighting to realize that.
Okay.
But this is something that I have to make it clear to you that I do not recommend anyone to do that at home.
Yeah, do not try it at home.
That's correct. This light should only be handled by professional who understand this, because this light is harmful on your skin, and it is harmful on your eye and your skin. So this is something that to be avoided at all costs. We don't even have it at home. Though we build it for the hospital, but I'm not installing one for my family here.
Yeah, this is a question from Kenneth Chu for Dr. Tansu. What subject do you teach at Lehigh?
My area is in the electrical and computer engineering, formally, but my research area is a little broader. where we cover like material science engineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering, and physics.
And this is for all of you, how to improve STEM. I mean, maybe for Pak Nelson in terms of Indonesian case, and maybe for Yuma for your next generation, I guess.
So I can take this one first. So I'm going to give this answer a little broader. Right? I think it's essential to instill confidence in our children, our Indonesian children specifically. I found that we have a lot of like incredible, young generation in Indonesia. Growing up in Indonesia, my friends, there are a lot of talented friends I have back home as well. Now, one of the issue in Indonesia is that the lack of opportunity for those students who perhaps are as smart or smarter than me, but they might not have the opportunity to pursue their higher education or given the facility or support from the parents at the same level that I have. So I'm very fortunate to have that. I was very fortunate as one of those kids who have a lot of support from my parents, right? Now, so I think it's a little bit, it's very important, as I mentioned earlier, that, if we have a lot of passionate people, passionate young students in Indonesia who love science, engineering, mathematics, computer science, and etc., we have to be able to keep them to continue their progression path by providing them with the opportunity. The solution could be like the school, for example, the scholarship given to them. We have to figure this one out. It's a broader issue. It's really about like how do you provide the best education, not only for those of us who live in the cities like Medan, Jakarta, Bandung, and Surabaya, but also like those who are probably living in the remote villages, remote areas. So this is actually a difficult issue, but I think it's a very important issue that needs to be addressed. Now, for personality, for individual method that can be addressed, I found that those who can blend in their strength and passion at the same time would be the one who could achieve the best success in their life. I do believe in this thing, and this is actually something that I hope that every kid who would like to do science and they are good at it, do that, and then let the government, the private sector, to figure the solution about how to provide those opportunities. The kids should be ambitious, responsible, and passionate. But last thing about this topic is that I want to emphasize one thing that may be not being discussed in this meeting. Most importantly, parents need to instill the good values in their kid. Being smart is simply not good enough. Instead, it's more important to ensure that the children have a deep understanding of empathy, sincerity, honesty, and mental strength in their life, and in their pursuit of their life and their career goals. I learned this value. I learned this important value from my late parents, and I think these are the kind of values that will bring you far in life. In your adulthood. I think things like this, these values, perhaps are not being discussed a lot in our formal education, whether it's a university setting or in when we were growing up. But I think those are important value because years later you realize that nobody will ask you about what your GPA was, what your high school diploma was or university diploma. It's really about like your ethics and integrity that matter. Yeah, and hopefully this is a value that can will be useful for many children in Indonesia and of course for me to our son as well, Axel.
How about you, Yuma?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of STEM for me by generation and future generations, I guess in terms of what I'm doing, I have my YouTube channel, Anyone Can Code, and I also do speaking engagements where I inspire others and show them this this world of STEM and open up this opportunity to them. But I mean, I guess in terms of, you know, the next generation, technology is going to be, or, you know, STEM, technology, coding, whatever, all of that's just going to be, you know, more prevalent than, you know, now. You're going to have, you know, technology is going to, you know, get more advanced, you know, rapidly. So they will be more, you know, exposed to technology. So I feel like, you know, especially in Australia, STEM should also be something that could be taught at school. But of course, it's people's choice. You know, people should follow their own passions. You know, like Dr. Nelson said. You know, he said that, you know, not everyone likes STEM. Not everyone likes to learn STEM, or their passion isn't in STEM. But, you know, for people who are interested in STEM, yeah, you know, just let them, you know, explore, you know, everything about STEM, you know, whichever sector they like. So yeah, I just say, if you're a parent of, you know, the next generation, you know, just you know, just encourage them to do STEM if they really enjoy it, and of course, you know, just open up all the opportunities to them, and, you know, don't force them to, you know, follow this specific sort of STEM, or to choose another career overall. But I guess it's also, STEM is also it's kind of necessary, or it's not really necessary, but important, because there's going to be more STEM-based jobs, and coding is going to, you know, teach people skills that will prepare them for a future, like problem solving, and you know, different skills such as math. So yeah, I mean, they don't have to learn STEM. You're not going to force them, but it's also kind of important, something that, you know, schools should let people try out, and try out for themselves, because who knows, they might have another, you know, this really big passion for them, and they just don't know it.
Yeah. So Axel, do you want to say something? What do you think?
He'll probably tell you his dream.
So this is very great opportunity for us to celebrate Hari Anak Indonesia, and at the same time we celebrate the excellence of anak-anak Indonesia, Indonesian generations, and youth one, and also how important the relationship schools and also parents, you know, to introduce them, and to not only for the kids or the schools or the knowledge, but it can be useful for the world. And at this moment, I will bring a friend of mine, Patrick Relisa. He's very young, I guess, you know, but he's very tech savvy in terms of social media. And he used, I think, correct me if I'm right or wrong, he used to be the former chairperson of the UN foundations in Washington, D.C. And a couple days ago, I was like sneaking around on his social media. He gave a speech to celebrate a Children's Day at the UNICEF. Maybe Patrick can say something? Can we bring Patrick on the screen? Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Matrini.
Yeah, so what do you think about, you know, the excellence of the Indonesians, young generations in terms of STEM itself, and how you can see it for the global?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you to you for the invitation. I did not expect a speaking portion here. You always surprise me. You know, I feel like I'm an honorary Indonesian because I've been to so many events, especially when Ambassador Mahendra was here in Washington, D.C. But I think overall it's been very inspiring because we need to have these conversations to showcase the talents of the young generation, the next generation, because, you know, especially for Yuma, I mean, he's so young, and I saw that video before this, you know, but it's just very inspiring to see that there's hope, I guess, in these challenging times amid COVID-19, that you have young promising leaders. And just like what Professor Nelson said about giving opportunities, I think that education is such a key component to making all of these opportunities a reality. And so, local governments, obviously, there's challenges because now we are in this, the entire world is in COVID-19, pandemic emergency. So where are the priorities? But we can't forget about the importance of education. And just to clarify, so I am still involved with the UN Association. So I am the head of our Peace and Security Program. I used to be the chair for the Sustainable Development the committee. And so I have worked on a number of the Sustainable Development Goals at the UN.
So thank you for, for give a speech. And maybe what is your suggestions? Is there any, since we are from Asian region, is there any potential collaborations for, for the future?
Sure.
In terms of like, development for the children and also in a STEM related.
Sure. You know that I'm originally from Philippines, and so we are neighbors, right? Indonesia and Philippines are neighbors. And so I do see opportunities in the ASEAN region because, we're living in this globalized world. And, I think we have to think as one. Obviously there is ASEAN, but I think there's still a lot more work that needs to be done in kind of having these international programs, sending Indonesians to other countries in Southeast Asia and vice versa. I mean, I think it was very interesting to hear that the Consul General said that she had studied at University of Santo Tomas in the Philippines, one of the prestigious schools in the Philippines. And so, having those kinds of cross, border programs to have opportunities. I think if we can do the same thing for these young kids, whether they're in Australia or in Indonesia or the US, but have an opportunity to do and excel in their field of interest, and that's going to make the world that much more connected as it already is.
Maybe last one. Maybe you can share your experience how you can be like tech savvy in the social media.
So I think it's very interesting. I mean, I don't know how much I shared with you before, but I'm originally from California, but I went to school here in Washington, D.C. So I came here and did my studies in political science at George Washington University, a very good school here. And I ended up interning at the White House under the Obama administration. And I was actually in the communications press office. And, when you're in that field, you have to learn all of these software. I mean, back then, social media wasn't as big as it is today, but it kind of gave me an opportunity to do some of the you have to get your hands wet and do some of the, even if it's an unpaid internship. And then, obviously, aside from my role from the UN Foundation, I'm also with the mayor's office here in DC. I head up our digital communications team in the arts and culture. And so that also is another opportunity. I've just been continuing to develop my expertise in any way I can, whether it's paid or unpaid. And, I think, just like what Nelson said, if you're good at something and you have a passion, and if you can leverage that, you can be successful in anything that you do. You don't have to be the best at something. You just have to be good at it, and you have to be passionate about it.
So before we hand it over to the MC, I would like to challenge everyone. Think of 3 words that how to make the world a better future. Just only 3 words.
Can I say something?
Yeah, later on, we're gonna get the 3 words we're gonna challenge all these wonderful folks. So, Pak Nelson, what are the 3 words that you can say?
I think sustainability, food security, and healthcare.
How about you, Ma?
Oh, this is a tough question. Okay. Kindness, innovation, and what's the last one? And fun.
Oh, fun, yes.
Yeah.
What about Axel?
Kind, be grateful, be responsible.
Grateful, responsible. One more.
Kind.
One more.
Kind.
Kind. That's good. Now go back to Patrick. What are the 3 words?
Sure. The first one that came to mind was innovation. You know, I think that's so key. Collaboration, and then I think unity. Just like I mentioned, you know, thinking as one, not just as Americans, not as Indonesians, but one people around the world, especially in this pandemic.
So we will go back to Ibu Nana.
Okay, Maitri, wow, this is really a wonderful and excellent conversation. I'm very proud that we are doing this because this is very uncommon. We talk about very heavy stuff and also not heavy meaning that, well, there are things that we can learn each other. I get some points from what Professor Nelson said and also what Yuma said. Yuma always giving the underline the patient is very important. When you have the patient, then I think the parents should give the opportunity. From time to time, Professor Nelson mentioned about opportunity, but also about values. This is very important. Even you are very talented, even you are bright and smart and genius, but you don't have values in your life, you don't have a character in your life, it will endanger everybody. I'm very happy also with Patrick. Patrick, I was in Manila, in Embassy of Indonesia in Manila for almost 4 years. My children studied in Makati, in San Agustin, Colegio San Agustin in, what is that? I forgot the name. In Dasmariñas village. And then
Okay.
while I work in the embassy, I studied in University of Santo Tomas
Yes.
in Manila for development studies, like Maitri. So we have almost the same background. Why we talk about development? You know, Indonesia priority at the moment is focusing beside infrastructure. It is human development, quality of human resources. So this conversation really, we have to do it again, connected with Indonesian university, or probably university or high school and even elementary school, and bring up Yuma and also Axel and also Professor Nelson to share with the Indonesian children, so they will get inspired and also motivated and then also learn something. And values, patience, and also opportunity is the key. Education is the key for our brighter life in the future. Thank you very much, Maitri, and good luck for everyone. And also for all the participants who attended. I think we have to do it again, Maitrini.
Yes, for sure.
We have to engage, probably we have to engage Indonesian high school and also university. So this is not only the conversation between us, but then we can bring these ideas and also the inspiration to motivate our children in Indonesia. I'll try to do that. Probably we will engage with the education and culture department ministry, and also engage of high schools. What is that? High school principals in Indonesia. Give me time. We will work with IDN then.
Yeah, sure. So now we will bring back the MC and also Pak Zain, the president, the host.
Oke, terima kasih. Barangkali Pak Zain duluan, Pak Zain, silakan.
Just thank you. I just want to say thank you, to the wonderful speaker who give us an inspiring talk about the STEM. So I hope our kids can get, good knowledge, about just like Professor Nelson and Yuma said about creativity, and how the process to learn about the STEMs and how to use a strength and patience, to get success, and how to value your gift talented, especially, when you learn about STEM. So yeah, I hope this is not, the last webinar. So we'll continue and collaborate, with all of you, to bring more topics, related with the STEM. So yeah, thank you very much, once again, especially for the participant. who attend this event. And thank you very much, and good night and good morning.
Pak Zain, for the next, you talked earlier, we're gonna, IDN-Houston, we're gonna have free training with Microsoft.
Yeah.
So would you please type your email over there?
Yes.
So they can, whenever they're interested to join, or for anybody that know my cell phone, they can WhatsApp me as well.
Yes. I will put my email address in the chat box. So please send me email. So I will send you information about the course, the free summer course. So maybe we'll do two class. First is related with coding, and the second one related with design, digital design. So I think this will be an online course, and you will get also e-certificate from Microsoft. Yeah. Please sign up, for attending this course. Thank you.
So just quick questions. Can Patrick share this information since he has the expertise of sharing information?
Oh, yes. Feel free.
Sure, I can pass this on to my colleagues if you like. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, terima kasih. So you see, my daughter, I already said my daughter outside. Like Professor Tansu say, not everybody likes STEM. So my daughter, one of them.
Okay.
She likes to do fashion, like Matrini, Dr. Matrini.
We will need a lot of people from different, from the diverse areas of interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Maybe.
And Pak Nelson, if we, talk and talk and talk about that all the time, and like what Yuma is doing, making the apps, very interesting things, it's different with Indonesian condition, In Indonesia and mostly in Asia, we always memorize. So in the learning theory, experimental learning is very important, and STEM brings the experimental learning. So we have to give a lot of challenge to our children in Indonesia by giving them experience, experiment. Then it might be interesting for the children. But we have to train our teachers as well, because it's not easy to teach STEM in a fun way, and also people will laugh about that. It's like the same thing when we teach history. I remember when I was in secondary school, my history teacher was very funny. So people love history, but otherwise, it's just a boring stuff. You talk and talk, and you will be sleeping in the classroom. So you have to make something very interesting and fun.
That's right. I hear that. So before we finish, are we gonna take a picture before? Who's gonna do the screenshot?
Photo session.
Give the photo session. Let me screenshot as well.
Everyone, show your face, please. Your video, and smile. You just wait. Yes. Okay. Come on. I think we need some more. All right. I'll do it. The first page. Everyone, smile. Wait. One more. Okay. Honey White, Nashiwa, Jessica, and also KJRI. Can you show your video, please? Smile. Now the second page. I'll do the second page. Okay, everybody smile, please, for the second page. And also, those who haven't opened their video, can you open, please? Pak Ari, help me also ya, Pak, di foto ya, Pak. Okay, come on. Some more from KJRI, Deta Bayu, Kasogi, Dolis, Frederick. Yeah, show your face. Smiling. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay.
Terima kasih, Bu Nana. Nanti di-share ya, Bu Nana.
I will. I'll put in my Facebook. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oke, sebelum kita tutup ini, saya Ria Buta-Buta mengucapkan banyak terima kasih kepada speaker Yuma, 13 years old, awesome. we'll see you in Houston, right? You say you're gonna come to Houston whenever there's no more lockdown. And then terima kasih, thank you for Axel, 8 years old, super awesome. And I'll have to say thumbs up. You're able to sit down nicely there. It's rarely my daughter cannot. And Pak Nelson, terima kasih. Finally, we talk.
Thank you for having me over here. Thank you for having us over here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. It was when Pak Zain asked me, let's bring, Indonesian talented. Then suddenly I remember I talked with you a long time ago, 2004, and then I say, how about Nelson? He said, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thanks
you for having me. Thanks for having me. I've actually been to Houston before. Like I said, I went there 2 years ago. Yeah, it was great there. So yeah, hopefully I can go there again. Hopefully next year or the year after. Yeah.
Sure. Keep in touch, Yuma. And then Patrick Realiza, mabuhay. Terima kasih. Thank you. And then hope we can have you also next time, ya. And then Ibu Nana and
Selamat Patrick, ya.
Ibu Romana, terima kasih untuk bantuannya.
Alright.
Kemana Ibu Romana?
Thank you everyone.
Terima kasih. Mimi, my friend from Malaysia.
You go to Houston, don't forget to stop by in our consulate office then.
Yeah, okay. I will.
Next time. I have a special present for you.
Awesome. I'm gonna line up look your back. Okay, terima kasih semuanya.
Right.
Have a nice weekend, ya. Have a nice weekend. Be safe, be healthy.
Yeah. Selamat malam.
Bye.
Thank you, Matthew.
Selamat pagi, selamat malam.
Yeah. Good night.
Much.